Hi, welcome back. In this video, what we will talk about is the Jump server, or also known as the Bastion server, the Bastion host. So, what exactly the Jump server is? So, if you see this diagram, this is from the Microsoft document. Now, this is the outer part is the virtual network, and this virtual network I have multiple Azure VMs. Now, one way to connect to this Azure VM is each VM I assign a public IP address, and I can use or I can connect this Azure VM from my outside world, that is from my internet, using the public IP of the Azure VM. So I don't want to expose this public IP to the outside world, and I want to create a layer where I can have one more layer of you can say a security where the outside world person, the user, cannot come in and cannot directly hit to my cannot access to my VM by using the public IP. So now that's where the Jump server or the Azure Bastion server it comes into play. So let's see what exactly Microsoft says here. So this Jump server, the Azure Bastion deployment is per virtual network. So what it means is, if this is a virtual network, I can have one Jump server in this virtual network, and not as per subscription of the account or the virtual machine. So once you provision the Jump server in your virtual network, the RDP or the SSH experience is available to all your VMs in the same virtual network. So now if I have like 10 Azure VMs here, all I can connect by using the same Jump server, and I can have multiple Jump server in my subscription. So if I have like 5 virtual network in my subscription, I can have 5 different Jump server or the Azure Bastion server in those specific virtual networks. Now let's see what is the use of this. So RDP and SSH are some of the fundamental means through which you can connect to your workloads running in Azure. Now exposing these ports over the internet isn't desired because of the threat, and there are different attacks are coming on the specific ports. So this is often due to the protocol issues. Now to contain this threat surface, you can deploy the Bastion server, which is a Jump server, at the public side of your perimeter network. What it means is, this Jump server will be exposed to the end user, and the end user will connect to the Bastion server, and this Bastion server basically will go and connect to the Azure VM in the backend. Now the Bastion servers are designed and configured to withstand the attacks, and these Jump servers also provide the RDP and SSH connectivity to the workload sitting behind the Bastion, as well as further inside the network. So this is the basic use of Bastion in the Bastion server here. Now, if you see here, this is what the bullet points are here. The Jump server is deployed in the virtual network. This is what the virtual network is, and you can connect by using any of the HTML browser, which can be a Google Chrome or it can be your Firefox. And the user selects the virtual machine to connect to. We will see exactly after this. We will do a hands-on lab of this, and we will see exactly how we can create a VM in the virtual network, how we can create a virtual network, and then finally how we can deploy the Bastion server or the Jump server and connect directly to the Azure VM without connecting to the public IP of these VMs. Now the user selects the virtual machine to connect to. We will see all these steps, how exactly we can do it. And with a single click with a single click on the browser, you can directly do the RDP or the SSH session to connect to the server in the browser, and no public IP is required. This is a very important point. No public IP is required on the Azure VM. So I will not assign the Azure VM the public IP, because without the Jump server, if I want to connect to Azure VM, I need a public IP which will allow the external user to go and connect to the Azure VM. So this is how we will see. I will create this VM's virtual network and everything, and then we will see in the lab how exactly we can do it. So let me do that for you. So here, if you see now, right now on my virtual machine tab. So if you see here, I filled up the basic details. So right now I'm on the networking part, which is very important. So there are two things which we have to remember here. One is, I don't have to give any public IP to this VM which I'm basically trying to create here, and I'm trying to connect to this VM by using the Jump server, which is the Bastion server. Now let's see the virtual network here. So now if you see the virtual network here, this is my main virtual network, which is 10.0.2.0/24. Okay, and in this virtual network, what I've done is I've created two different subnetwork, and this is my VM subnetwork where my VM will be residing. And if you see here, this is in the range of 64 address, which is like 2.0 to 2.63. And then I have a Azure Bastion subnet. Just make sure you give this exact name as a subnet for Azure Jump server or the Bastion subnet, because the reason is this is what the Azure requires the subnet to be, where this Azure Bastion subnet resides in. So this is a very specific name where Azure needs this name for the Bastion server to be part of this. And now I have created one more subnet, which is basically 64, ending in 64. And this is the second subnetwork where my jump server will be residing. So in this way, what I'm trying to do is, so again, let's go back to the architecture. So this is my main virtual network, the outside one, which is 10.0.2.0/24. And in that, I have created two subnetwork. One subnetwork is for my VM, and I can have multiple VMs in this. So right now, I've created just one VM. And in the second subnetwork, I'm creating the jump server here. So exactly same thing what I've done here. So if you see here, this upper part, this /24 is my main virtual network, and I'm dividing this virtual network into two subnet. One is for my VM subnet, and one is for my jump server or Azure Bastion subnet. Now let's do this. Okay, and what we can do is we can go ahead and create this VM. Okay, so let's go ahead and advanced tags. I will keep everything as default here, and we will try to create the VM here. So this will take some time, so I will come back once the machine is up and running. Alright, so if you see here, my VM is ready here. Now there are two things to check here. First, if you see here, there is no public IP address for this specific VM. This is what we required. So we don't need any public IP address here because we are trying to access this VM by the Bastion server, by the jump box. Now let's see if I can connect this. So now there are different ways to connect this. I will try to connect by RDP because this is my Windows machine, and let's see if I can connect this. So see here it is saying private IP address. So I don't want to create, I don't want to go into this by private IP address because I am coming from outside world, from outside the virtual network. So it means I cannot connect using the RDP here because this will not work for me. Now let's see with the Bastion server. This is what exactly we are trying to do, because right now we have the Bastion subnet ready, and what we will do is, yes. So now if you see here, this is my main VNet Bastion. This is my main virtual network. So again, let me go back to the. So this is exactly so if you see the outer virtual network, this is the main virtual network, and inside this I've created a Azure Bastion subnet. So let me go back to this demo. Yeah. So if you see the subnet here is Azure Bastion subnet, and let me click on this and let me show you. So this is exactly what I showed you when I created the VM. So when you create the VM, in this VM, this is the this is the subnet for the VM. This is the subnet for my jump server. And these two are two different subnet, but both are part of the same virtual network, which is this virtual network what we created here. So now let me go back and let's see if we can install this. So now connect using the Azure Bastion server. So now so this is very important here, because if you don't give this subnet, because to create this jump box or the Azure Bastion server, you need a subnet. And if you don't create a subnet, it will ask you to create a subnet here. So the better is, when you create the VM, at that time itself, you create a separate virtual network for the VM, which is a subnet, and a separate subnet for the Azure virtual machine. So let me create this. So it will take some time. So once this is up and running, I will come back. So I was able to create the jump server here. So now let me go and see if I can connect to my. So this is, if you see here, this is we are able to deploy the Azure Bastion. Now what I will do is, I will try to connect to my virtual machine, which is my Windows virtual machine, and this is the ID and the password which I gave when I created the machine. So now this is connecting to my Windows virtual machine, and this is doing the RDP using the Bastion server. So if you see here, I have not done anything, like I'm not connecting by public IP. I'm just connecting by using the Bastion server. So now this is, if you can see here, this is logging into my Windows machine here. So this is how you can connect to any of the server by using the Bastion or the jump server. So hopefully this was useful for you guys, and it added value. So thanks for watching, and let me just summarize again here. So this is what we deployed here, and we connected by using this user. We directly connected from the portal. From my browser, I connected to my jump server, and jump server is basically connecting to my virtual machine. So hopefully this was useful to you guys. Thanks a lot.